It was a huge game 4 last night. But what people are going to talk about is not that the Celtics blew a 14-point third quarter lead. They're not going to talk about how good Jalen Brunson is. I'd like to talk about that for a couple of minutes. But the biggest story coming out of that game is what happened to Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum suffered a non-contact lower leg injury, and it is clear to everyone as soon as it happened that it is a torn Achilles. When it is announced that that's the case, Jayson Tatum is going to be not just out for the playoffs, he's going to miss all of next year as well. It is a huge loss for the Celtics. They will not be able to defend their NBA World Championship. They're going to lose this series to the Knicks, who have a 3-1 lead right now with 3 chances to close out the Celtics. It is hard for me to imagine that the Celtics will be able to play as well as they have the last 2 games. And yes, it's true the Knicks won last night, but the Celtics are shooting the ball well. Tatum was on fire. I'm going to get you some stats right now of what they did from 3, because I would believe it's the second game in a row where they were just outstanding. They shot, wait for it, only 18 for 48. Is that possible, Coca? At 37.5%, close to their season average. They must have had a horrific second half, because when it started, Tatum, Derek White, they just weren't missing. And what we said is if the Celtics do that 4 times, they're going to win the series. If they don't do it, then they're going to lose the series. Tatum actually was 5 for what he started with. He went 7 for 16, but he started off much hotter than that. But in the fourth quarter, he got hurt. Tatum is in the middle of a 5-year, $313 million contract that they signed, but only kicks in starting next season. And he's going to get $54 million next year not to play. You don't not sign players because you're worried they're going to get injured. Tatum has been phenomenal in that regard, but it just shows you what the risks are when you sign a player and what can happen and how quickly a team's fortunes can change. You knew it was bad immediately because he went down, and it wasn't normal Tatum going down with his coach saying, just get up. This was something major. He could not put any weight on it when he was taken off the court, and he ended up using a wheelchair because that's what happens when you tear your Achilles. Yet the Celtics came out and said, we don't know anything. Joe Mazzulla in his post-game press conference, I don't know. I just know it's a lower leg injury. We'll get more information tomorrow. Do you think, having listened to Nothing Personal for 1,275 episodes, that that's true? Do you think that the team doctor wasn't looking at Tatum immediately and could recognize immediately that it was a torn Achilles? Do you not think that the owner wanted a report immediately, and that if an MRI was required, that they could get an MRI immediately, like right after the game? No, let's let the swelling go down. Let's sleep on it. Maybe it won't be as bad. When an Achilles breaks, remember when Aaron Rodgers' Achilles tore and you saw it roll up his leg on his forced snap after becoming a Jet? It is, according to team doctors, a torn Achilles is one of the easiest things that you can diagnose without an MRI. What an MRI does is confirm it, but it doesn't really diagnose it. Now, that's different than a torn ACL or a torn in your knee or a UCL in a pitcher's elbow. Doctors can meet and examine your pitchers, and they look to see whether your pitcher has full extension, and they feel around in there. They get told what the pain was, what it felt like, what it sounded like. But an MRI is required to see what level of tear it is in the UCL and the elbow, or what the knee looks like, etc. What the MRI for the Achilles will do, because I've been a part of this, it will show the tear, but you have knowledge of it before it happens. So what do the Celtics do? Well, I guess they have to lean on Jaylen Brown, who's about to make $53 million next year. I guess they have to lean on the ability of this team to try to continue or recover from a 3-1 deficit. But it's a devastating loss for the Celtics. But what's worse for them, And as a team executive, my thought would be in this order. I would think about next year before even thinking about this year's playoffs. Because while a player can get hurt this time of year and be out for a month, or you can lose in an upset, or it can just not be your year because you don't shoot well for a period of 4 games out of 7, you dismiss that as part of the game, but you always know you've got next year. I remember when players would get Tommy John, my biggest thing is not, oh my God, he's out for this year. My biggest thing is, oh, he's out for next year. And that's got to be the feeling with the Celtics right now, that Tatum being gone for next year is devastating for them. Someone asked me, Coca, I got a text that was interesting to me about the Tatum injury. Someone said, is that going to change the purchase price for the Celtics? Will Bill Chisholm no longer want to pay $6.1 billion going up to 7.3 at the end of the step transaction when their current governor, Wick, steps away in a couple of years? Is that really a thought that people are having, or is it just this friend of mine? Because never, when you are selling a team, never does an existing contract or the existing performance of your team in any way correlate to the purchase price. The Celtics did not get 6.1 because they won the championship last year. It is about revenue. It's about market. It's about ego premium. It's about all the things that are measured, none of which have to do with whether you have bad contracts on the team, whether your team is underperforming, overperforming, or just downright stinks. I think the best example of that is the Cowboys. Their value keeps going up, and they've stunk for this century.